It's so special to be here for the WIN 2020 to celebrate 25 years of the wonderful work that you do. Now, you know that you hold a very special place in my heart, and so does WIN, because the wonderful work that you do gives us a chance to share our ideas, our hopes, our dreams of a better world, a more inclusive world, a more egalitarian world. It allows us to connect with our inner voices, to have them be heard, to find strength in our sisterhood, and to be rejuvenated by that sisterhood. And very importantly, it really allows us to come together. I'm Sonam Kalra. I'm a musician, and I really believe music. Music can bring us even closer together, transcending all borders of religion, region, and race. One of the things I knew when I became a musician was that I wanted to be a musician with a message. I wanted to tell my truth through my art. I wanted to use my art and my voice and my music to impact change and to make a difference, however small that might be. On day one, Kristen, you asked us what events impacted our lives. And I think for me, it was very clearly the anti-Sikh riots in India, which happened in 1984. I belong to the Sikh religion. I think you must have seen the men who wear the turbans and the women with the very long hair. So Sikhism is a very syncretic faith. It's based on equality. In fact, it's one of the few religions that, when it was created, lifted the status of women and made them equal to men. Of course, my father went a step ahead and he said, "You're not equal to men, you're way better." So I grew up believing just that, like all of the women in this room. So my sisters and I grew up with these beliefs of slight superiority, but mostly universal equality in my home. So when the anti-Sikh riots of 1984 happened, and they were based on religion, there was a huge massacre, a genocide of Sikhs. Innocent men, women, and children were killed only because they belonged to the Sikh religion, and only because of a label of religion. My family had a very close call, and we just escaped a mob that was coming to get us. And I remember I was a very little girl at the time, and I started at such an early age to question religion and how it's supposed to unite us, bring us together, but it divides us, and why so many brutalities in the world are committed in the name of this religion. And it was this very persistent questioning and witnessing of so many events across the world over the years that led me to create the Sufi Gospel Project. She's going to just bring the slide up for you, I think, if she's not struggling, poor thing. Are we on, Arshi? Anyway, in the Sufi Gospel Project, what I do is I blend the diverse voices of faith across region, religion, and race and faith. And I use music, poetry, and prayer to try and create one voice, one universal voice of faith. Sufism means an acceptance of all humanity as equal, and gospel means the truth. So I thought, what if through music I could put forth this message of the acceptance of all humanity as equal, of inclusion, of diversity, and what if, through music, I could change mindsets, just one note at a time? Where the philosophy of a 16th century Indian Sufi poet could find echoes in the words of the 13th century Persian mystic master Rumi, where Gaelic music could merge into Buddhist chants and find reflection and resonance in Indian Bhakti spiritual music, where the call to Allah and the Sikh morning prayer could flow seamlessly into the age-old gospel hymn, Amazing Grace, where many diverse faiths could find common ground. Music that reminds us of oneness and inclusion, and of faith versus religion. Because for me, faith has personally always felt very powerful. I've been through many difficult phases, like all of us in our lives. I've watched my mother battle her cancer very bravely. I've watched losing her. I've watched losing my father in quick succession of that. But I've also lived through miraculous events, like surviving the South Asian tsunami of 2004, where my husband and I almost died, we were underwater, but we survived, but others didn't. So my relationship and understanding of God has changed over the years. And I eventually have found a new understanding, a new acceptance of God. I've learned to find God now in good, in people, in kindness, and in every breath of every man. COVID has been so hard for all of us, right? I know it's also been very good, as Kristen said, and I was coming to exactly that. You know, we've referred to these years as the absent years. We've been absent in so many ways, from our lives, from our work, from our friends, and in many, many ways. Our lives have been absent from us. We have all, no matter what field we've been in, really felt this absence. For arts practitioners like myself, it's been an absence of communication, expression, interaction, inspiration perhaps for some, and for others, it's been an absence of income. They have been difficult, these absent years. But one of the things that I noticed is that in all of this absence, we have been present. We have been present in the moment, we've been present for our families, for our friends, and most importantly, we have been present for strangers. And what has been present has been humanity, kindness, community, and a coming together like never before, despite the distancing. Because this time there has been a shared grief, a shared anxiety, and a shared understanding of this emptiness that the absent years left in all of us. So I believe that the biggest learning in these absent years has been the importance of being present. And I hope it's made us evolve into being better versions of ourselves, better to each other, kinder to each other, and hopefully better caretakers of this planet. As Sufi poet Rumi so beautifully said, it is the wound. The wound is the place the light enters you. So let us take a moment to be grateful for this light, for being alive, for being here together in this room where we can feel each other rather than virtually with the wall of a screen between us, for understanding the importance of being present, the importance of a human connection, and for understanding very, very importantly that we are part of a larger collective of humanity and that we are stronger together. We are children of one God, and the only religion that truly matters is the religion of humanity. And it is in this space of gratitude that I would like to start with a prayer from the Sufi Gospel Project. I know it's Kristen's favorite because she's been doing it, as she told me yesterday, for 1,000 days. And it was such a coincidence that I thought I would start with this. This combines prayers from different faiths and talks of the oneness of God, reminding us that no matter where we find our truth, no matter where we find our truth, in a temple, a shrine, a church, a mosque, each truth is just as valid. Ek Omkar, the Amazing Grace Prayer.
एक ओंकार सतनाम एक ओंकार सतनाम एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख Nirbhav, Nirvair, Akal Murat, Ajuni Sebhang, Gur Prasad Jap, Ad Sach, Jogad Sach, है भी सच, नानक होसी भी सच। एक ओंकार सतनाम, एक ओंकार सतनाम, सतनाम, सतनाम। That saved a wretch like me. I once wasn't lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace hath taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Meher
Thank you. Thank you. So, when I was creating the Sufi Gospel Project and researching works of poets and mystics across region, time, language, and faith, the more I searched for this truth of acceptance of all humanity as equal, the more wonderful wisdom revealed itself to me. The more I questioned our differences, the more I found through them our similarities in voices and thoughts of so many people from across the world, in the old and the new, the same ideologies in ancient verses and contemporary songs, in poetry, in a chant, in a verse from the Bhakti tradition, in an Irish prayer, in a couplet my mother wrote, in John Lennon's Imagine, in Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, in Rabia, in rhythm, in music and voices from all over the world. And so the next song I will present to you is one you perhaps all know well. It's not traditionally a Sufi song, but if you listen carefully to the message, you will see it's exactly what Sufism speaks of. The next song, which I was going to present to you, but I'm not going to because it already played and I know we're short of time, was written by singer, songwriter, and poet Leonard Cohen. But I want to tell you just about the thought. It is said he was so inspired by this beautiful thought that many different hallelujahs can and must exist in harmony, that he wrote 108 verses of that song. I was so inspired that I added one more and we made it 109. But as I see, I've got 28 minutes and I know you all have to get... I'll do hallelujah then right at the end if we still have time. But I will do... So I'll do all 109 verses later. But I will do Imagine for you, and as I said, it's not traditionally a Sufi song, but it talks of exactly what Sufism means, a world without borders, no greed, no hunger, equality. And I'm sure by now you figure I'm not traditional, so you can understand why I've put this in. But I added a verse to it by a wonderful revolutionary Pakistani poet called Faiz Ahmad Faiz, in which he says, "Come, come, let us join together and raise our hands, those of us who know not ritual or religion to be prayer, those of us who know not idol or shrines to be worship, those of us who know God only through love." Imagine. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. आइए हाथ उठाए हम भी, आइए हाथ उठाए हम भी, हम जिन्हें रस्मे दुआ याद नहीं, हम जिन्हें रस्मे दुआ याद नहीं, हम जिन्हें सोज़े मोहब्बत के सिवा, हम जिन्हें सोज़े मोहब्बत के सिवा कोई बुत कोई खुदा याद नहीं, कोई बुत कोई खुदा याद नहीं। आइए हाथ उठाए हम भी, आइए हाथ उठाए हम भी, आइए हाथ उठाए हम भी। Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. उठाए हम भी Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you. So imagine a world without borders, without labels, without wars fought on the basis of religion and greed. So I'm going to quickly share with you, and I thought I would spend a little more time on this, but I'm just going to let you know something else that I've been doing for the past few years. It's not exactly a part of the Sufi Gospel Project, but I wanted to share with you that once I started looking for this truth of acceptance of all humanity, it somehow changed me, and forgiveness, compassion, empathy, and justice became a huge part of this ever-widening definition of my Sufi Gospel Project. So this year marks 75 years since a terrible incident that happened in my country, the partition of my country, India, into India and Pakistan. It is till date the largest mass displacement in the history of humanity, with what was an unparalleled refugee crisis. Of course, the ones who suffered the most were women and children. There are stories that I've heard in my research of women who have thrown themselves into wells, and the wells were so full that they couldn't even die to protect their honor. And of others are the stories of women who were abducted, taken to the other side, on both sides. They were married to the people who abducted them. They had children. And then when the governments deemed it right, they were just returned like cattle, leaving their children behind, leaving what they knew to be their lives and their husbands behind. But that is for another talk at another WINConference. The fact is, everyone suffered on both sides. Families were torn apart, forced apart. Family members were lost and they never got to see each other for the rest of their lives. I know of a story that we do in this performance where a man meets his sister after 60 years and the mother still recognizes her daughter. That's what's so lovely about that story. So a poet who witnessed the partition of the time, a poet called Ustad Daman, he wrote, and I'll say it to you in Punjabi even though you don't understand it, but it just sounds so beautiful. He said, "Akhiyan di lali dasdi hai, roe asivi, roe tusivi." That the redness in your eyes shows that you have cried and so have we. So these words just stayed with me the first time I saw them, and I knew I had to do something. I had to explore through music these words and change this narrative of hatred. So I created, over a few years of research, of collecting testimonials from survivors and researching poetry and writing myself, I created a multidisciplinary performance where I blend theater, art, and music that retells this cataclysmic event through the eyes of humanity and not politics, through the eyes of a shared history and a shared grief. I collected oral histories of survivors, as most of these stories, because it happened in 1947, will be lost or have been lost because we're in 2022. And through this performance, I tried and I continue to try to honor these oral histories of people who lived through this ordeal. For history, I believe, is not written in history books. It's in real people's real stories. So when we do this performance, we hope that in revisiting these, we can learn, we can teach future generations when we present the performance, and people who have this sort of hatred towards the neighbor because our tensions between India and Pakistan are so high. We hope that when people leave the performance, they've had a little bit of a mind shift. And there may be stories from India and Pakistan, but they are actually stories of humanity, of human crises everywhere, and what religion can do. Since 1947, as I said, most of the borders have been tight, and even though it was the home of previous generations, some of them came from Pakistan, some from India, the younger generations have really never had a chance to meet, but there is such a strange, deep DNA connection, a kinship, that whenever they meet outside of the country, you're immediately drawn to someone, as Indians to Pakistanis and Pakistanis to Indians. We are children of the same land, and there is no taking away from that. So I decided also as part of this performance to collect video messages of peace, and we collected over 200 messages of peace from both sides of the border. When people come for the performance, there's a postcard already in your seat pre-addressed to the other side. And it starts with the words, "When we meet," so you have to fill it. And I carry a post box with me everywhere, which people think I've stolen. Sometimes I have. And we get people to perform the physical act of posting so they feel like they've actually reached out to the other side. And in my dream wall, I'm going to build a wall of peace. I don't know how, but I will. So this year, because it marked 75 years, I decided to put out 75 messages of peace on social media from both sides of the border. Each message begins with the words, "When we meet." Just wanted to create a virtual bank of peace, a space where people from both sides could open doors, could communicate with each other. And I'm going to share a very tiny bit of some of what the performance looks like, because it's so close to my heart right now, because it's 75 years that I kept till last night. I was like, shall I show it, Kristen, shall I not? And then I decided this is a space where I know everyone feels, so I'm going to show it to you. That's how we normally start the performance. Well, are you playing the track? Okay, I'll sing a little bit. Arshi has decided I'm singing. I was going to jump ahead because of time, but this is something I wrote about partition. Basically saying that I think of you often, of my homeland. ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਖੈਰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਖੈਰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਖਤ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਖੈਰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਖੈਰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਖਤ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ ਵੰਡ ਗਿਆ ਮੁਲਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਤੇ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਵੰਡ ਗਿਆ ਮੁਲਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਤੇ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਟੁੱਟ ਗਈ ਯਾਰੀਆਂ ਅੱਖੀਆਂ ਪਿਗੋ ਕੇ मिट गई सारिया अखियां पिगो के ना जनाब दी सुपने च आउंदी ए ना जनाब दी सुपने च आउंदी ए आजा कोल लाडो लोरी सुनोंदी ए आजा कोल लाडो लोरी सुनो दिए लोरी सुनो दिए हसी तेरी खैर पुछदे रवांगे असी तैनू याद करदे रवांगे That was just a portion of the song that I wanted you all to hear. This was the repeat refrain we heard from everyone who left their homes, that we never thought we wouldn't go back. We thought it was going to be temporary. We never thought we would not see our families again. Arshi, will you just play a few of the messages of peace so you know the lovely love that we got from both sides?
When we meet,
ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ
जब हम मिलेंगे
when we meet,
जब असा मिलांगे
When we meet,
when we meet, when we meet, when we meet,
जदी ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ
when we meet,
when we meet,
जब मैं तेनू मिलांगा
when we meet,
when we meet
ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ
जब हम मिलेंगे,
when we meet
when we meet.
When we meet, I will ask you to stay, to sit, to chat, to laugh. I will tell you stories that my Nani told me of a beautiful childhood in a land that was ours, yours and mine. And you'll tell me your stories, our stories.
When we meet, I'm going to tell you that I know you well. We are no different. We look the same. We speak the same language. And of course, we share a history. Most importantly, of course, we share the same land, divided by a barbed wire. A barbed wire that I've never seen as a division. I've never viewed the other side of the barbed wire as being any different from this side of the barbed wire.
जब मैं आपसे मिलूंगी तो मैं आपको बटदार परोंठी मक्खन आम के चार के साथ खिलाऊंगी ठीक है
When we meet, I have to know about your country and culture and lend a hand to the dietary ties. I would hug you and call you brother and sister of neighboring countries and raise a way of dietary ties.
When we meet we will live happily ever after.
So that was I'm not going to call it a digression, I will call it an expansion of what happened for me with the Sufi Gospel Project. I'm going to do 2 quick songs. I know I have 5 minutes, but I'm eating into my time because this one has almost become the WIN anthem. I mean, it's in a language none of you will understand, but all of you will understand. It speaks of the power of the collective voice. It's a song, as I said, I've sung for many WIN conferences. The words are written by a Pakistani poet, the same poet, Faiz Ahmed Faiz, who reminds us, and we've been talking a lot about finding our voices, our causes, our intention. He reminds us that the strongest tool we have at our disposal is our voice, and that we must use our voices to speak out for what we need, to speak out for what others need, to speak out against injustice, to be fearless, and to live our lives, especially as women, on our own terms. Speak out, because your lips, they are still free. Speak out because your body, it is your own. This life is your own. I added a refrain to his poetry, which says, Bolo ek awaaz hai hum, which means, say that we are one, say that we are one voice together, because the power of the individual voice is strong, and yes, it is important. But the power of the collective voice is completely unstoppable. And it is only when we come together that that power becomes change. Bol. Amit, thoda track बढ़ा दो monitor में please. बोल के लम आजाद हैं तेरे, बोल ज़बान अब तक तेरी है, तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जा अब तक तेरी है, बोल के लम आजाद हैं तेरे, बोल ज़बान अब तक तेरी है, तेरा सुतवा जिस्म है तेरा, बोल के जा अब तक तेरी है, देख के आहंगर की दुकान में तुंद है शोले सुर्ख है आहन, फूलने धागे फूलों के दहाने, फैला हर एक जंजीर का दामन, बोल के लम जिस्मो ज़बान की मौत से पहले बोल के सच जिंदा है अब तक बोल जो कुछ कहना है कह ले बोल ये थोड़ा वक्त बहुत है जिस्मो ज़बान की मौत से पहले बोल के सच जिंदा है अब तक बोल जो कुछ कहना है कह ले बोल के लब आजाद है तेरे बोल ज़बान अब तक तेरी है एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो एक आवाज़ है हम बोलो आवाज़ है हम quick one. Thank you. So this next one, thank you. I'm not interrupting the clapping. I promise you I love that you love the music. But I'm trying to speed this up because I want to get these two songs in. So this one, very quickly, and I'm going to speak fast so you can follow me quickly, is based on the poetry of 17th century Sufi saint Baba Bulleh Shah. No, I'll slow down. He was an incredible poet. He believed a love of God implied a love of all humanity. And one of his most famous poems, he says something incredible. He says, "Take me, my friend, to live in a land, a divine utopia where everyone is blind. For if they are blind, they will not be able to see us, and they will not then be able to discriminate amongst us on the basis of caste, creed, gender, or religion." He says, that is where I want to live. And in this one, he says, "My teacher has taught me a wonderful lesson, that my temple, my shrine, my church, my mosque is not within the four walls of a building, but within the walls of my heart, and within the walls of the heart of the person who is sitting next to me, whose shoulder is touching mine." And he says, now that I have this knowledge, I'm free. I'm free from the shackles of ritual and religion, and I will wear my ghungroos, my ankle bells, and I will dance like Nilima made all of us dance yesterday. So when we composed this, we decided we were going to make this a world song. So we brought in elements from Punjabi poetry, Persian refrain, Irish music, bluegrass influences, Rajasthan, Punjab, and of course, I even, to add to the mix, got a man. No, this man is an incredible man. Ladies and gentlemen, my partner in crime, time and rhyme, Ehsan Ali, who makes all this beautiful music with me, and he has the same beliefs that I do. And you know, contrary to stereotypes, Ehsan is a Muslim. So a lot of people say, oh my God, he's a Muslim and he's going to have all these really rigid stereotypes. Ehsan is one of the most progressive men that I know. Forget what religion he belongs to. So thank you, Ehsan, for just always holding my hand through all of this. We can't do this. We're two halves of this world. So this one is called Alfat. We often ask people to sing this, but since you're not Indian, I know it's going to be harder, but I'll tell you, it's Alfat in bin unbin anbin nukta yar padhaya re. If you can get Alfat in bin unbin anbin. Can you get in bin unbin anbin? Like in bin, throw it in the bin. In bin, un bin, un bin. Okay. So this is, Arshi, we're going to do a little bit of a padhant before. One, go.
Dhin takatata 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 takatata
Didin, takitata, ata, takitata, ata, takitata, 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 ata, takitata, ata, takitata, 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 ata, takitata, ata, takitata, I'm going to need you to clap in this one. And you can dance. Let's get up. I'm standing. I couldn't sit. You can all come to the front like we did yesterday. I can feel you. The bluegrass music. Amit, थोड़ा वॉल्यूम खोल दो. अल्फतेन बिनून बिनैन बिन नुक्ता ज्ञान पढ़ाया. 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 नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू सबक सिखाया. नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू सबक सिखाया. अल्फतेन बिनून बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया. अल्फतेन बिनून बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया. नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू सबक सिखाया. नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया सानू राजू सबक सिखाया. अल्फतेन बिनून बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया. अल्फतेन बिनून बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पढ़ाया. Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah dharmanastuhu, Allah aapke bole shaar bankare, aapke bole shaar bankare किसने नाम दराया, आपके बोले शहर बनकारे किसने नाम धराया, बन कर चेहरा छम 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 छम, बन कर चेहरा छम छम छम, सानू रुठना यार मनाया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुलाया बनाया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुलाया बनाया, रुकता यार बनाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया, रुकता यार बनाया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुलाया बनाया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुलाया बनाया, सानी सा सा सानी सा सा पानी सा रे सानी सा सानी सा 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 सानी सा 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 पानी सा रे सानी सा गरे गा 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 गरे गा 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 सारे गा मा 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 रे गरे गा 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 गरे गा 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 सारे गा मा 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 रे सानी सा 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 सानी सा 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 पानी सा रे सानी गा गा सानी सा 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 सानी सा 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 पानी सा रे सानी गा गा गरे गा मा मा रे रे सानी गा रे सा गरे गा मा मा रे रे सानी गा रे सा गा मा रे गा मा रे सानी गा रे सा गा मा रे गा मा रे सानी गा रे सा सानी गा रे गा मा 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 रे सानी सा सानी गा रे गा मा 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 रे सानी सा सानी गा रे गा मा 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 रे सानी सा अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पराया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पराया, रुकता यार पराया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया, रुकता यार पराया सानू राजू शब्द सिखाया, अल्फतैन बिनोन बिनैन बिन नुक्ता यार पराया, 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 धर्मनस्तुहु अल्लाह everybody अल्लाह धर्मनस्तुहु 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 अल्लाह। अर्शी जल्दी से दमादम चला दे। So quickly this last, I'm not even talking about it, I'm just singing it. This is, I know the last one. Kristen got us all the way from India, so you guys have to get ready very quickly, I'm just saying. If you want to stay, otherwise go get ready. This means God is in every breath of every man. मैं दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली रग रग दे अंदर हो दमादम मस्त कलंदर हुसैनी लाल कलंदर हो दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली का पहला नंबर लाल मेरी कर रखियो लाल लाल कलंदर अली रग रग दे अंदर हो दमादम मस्त कलंदर हुसैनी लाल कलंदर हो लाल मेरी हो लाल मेरी अर्शी फेड कर दो अर्शी फेड कर दो and Amit fade out. I just wanted to do one verse of it. I know everyone's getting late, but this last one was about, I know, I'm being greedy. This last one, very quickly, was about tolerance, about having God in every breath and seeing God in every breath of every man and divinity. And therefore, if you see divinity, you have inclusion. Thank you, Kristen, for including me and Ehsan to be a part of the WIN family for so many years. I am forever grateful to you for, like I said, the incredible work you do and all the incredible souls and incredibly strong, inspiring women I get to meet who become such good friends in different parts of the world. So thank you so much. And thank you to the gentleman over there as well, who's been so brave, hanging out with all these women.
This is unbelievable. It's so awesome. So thank you again. Gonna give you like a 2-hour next time. Next time with hours, right? But and this covered a lot, and it was so nice to be in this vibration. So yes, thank you. And we have yes, it's such a nice energy. So the whole thing is good to. If you're not coming to the dinner and if you're taking a plane home, remember tomorrow to go for a walk or dance, because the vibration in this room is quite high constantly. So it's like being in some healing chamber for 3 days, and with this music now, it's like, yeah. Oh my God. So thank you for this beautiful music.